The following is a presentation of the Nerd Complex Podcast Network.
You are listening to Audio Suplex Live. We live.
Are we all the way live, baby?
We live on Facebook.
We are live on Facebook. This is a new venture for us, guys.
We got a notification about it and everything.
Wow. How do we look?
We've looked better.
Yeah. We have the technology, though. So we are switching things up a little bit. So if you guys are used to watching our show live on YouTube, we're going to switch it up a little bit this week. We want to try things out and try to bring the show to you guys live via Facebook. So everybody's favorite hub for sharing really bad memes and minions and sharing their opinions on the government.
And the Mayweather fight.
It's going to be huge.
When is that, by the way?
Next Thursday.
Nice. I can't wait. Actually, fun story. So I went to our local casino here last night to watch the Mayweather-McGregor fight. And there was a drunk guy, maybe about two people behind me, who thought who was the match? It was one of the
Cleve.
Yeah, it was one of the undercard matches where there was a white dude fighting a black dude, and the dude two people.
Francisco and Davis.
No, the one before that.
Cleve.
Cleve.
It says Cleve on his gold
shorts. Regardless, the drunk guy behind me thought that was McGregor Mayweather and was cheering for McGregor the entire time, and I was like, my man, that is. Okay, just go ahead with that. And he left after that fight.
That's amazing.
It was so sick.
Funny thing is, did you watch the posting with McGregor?
No, I kind of hightailed it out as soon as the
oh my
the
god!
fight was over.
Did you watch the post game?
Yeah.
Dude, we need a pikey translator for him. he was saying
normally
all these things.
Yeah, normally I feel like I can understand him, but last night it was kind of
It was hilarious. Me and my buddy were laughing and be like, when is Brad Pitt going to come out and just start translating for him? Be like, yeah, it's for my man.
I can't even with you guys right now.
I'm sorry.
So if you guys are watching us on Facebook Live, you guys feel free to leave us some comments. We do actually have our boy Sean Paul is in the chat with you guys right now. He will be answering questions and giving us some insight on what you guys are saying and how you guys are reacting to the episode. So, yeah. We got a lot to get through this week. So,
what is this week's episode about?
This week's episode is about our special guest, Victor Andrews.
Hey-o.
Coming to us via Skype. I think Joe's going to dial him in right now. So, working on it. But we're gonna be joined by Mr. Victor Andrews today. I think he's jumping in right now. Hey, what's going on, buddy? Welcome to Audio Suplex Live.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here.
Excellent. We're super happy to have you. So we wanted to bring you on today to talk to you about your professional wrestling career, to talk to you about the fact that you're what I was describing to Corey when I was telling him who we were having on the show this week as a modern-day Renaissance man, a man of many, many, many talents.
Mr.Everything, I've been told.
Yes, definitely. I try to live up to that standard as much as possible. Even at home, I got to fix everything in the house because my girlfriend would tell me, if you can't fix it, you ain't really Mr. Everything. So
it's backfiring a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say he kind of overshot with that nickname a little bit there. So it's, but hey, man, if you can live up to it, you can live up to it. So, but before we jump into talking to Victor about his wrestling career and all that, we kind of wanted to take a couple minutes to break down last weekend being a huge weekend for professional wrestling. With NXT Takeover Brooklyn III and SummerSlam. So we haven't really had an opportunity yet as a show to kind of sit down and kind of unpack our thoughts on last weekend's wrestling. So
Corey. A lot of, what did we have, 5 title changes last weekend?
A lot of title
changes. Which was crazy. A lot of unexpected title changes.
It's like Oprah Winfrey out there, man, just handing everybody a title change. Like, you get a title change and you get a title change.
Oh, you wanted to tell your Twitter joke out loud to everybody.
Well, not everybody follows me on Twitter.
Cute.
So.
I was thoroughly sports entertained. What were your thoughts on Takeover? I guess because that took place beforehand. Travis, what'd you think?
Once again, I think takeovers they're really starting to hit this stride where you look at the undercard, or you look at the card before the actual show, and you just kind of, I don't want to say you're underwhelmed, but takeovers seem to continuously just over exceed your expectations. Like they just
over exceed your
expectations. Yeah, over exceed. I'm having a really hard time putting together words and phrases today. Yeah, no, they always tend to seem to exceed my expectations. Like the card, I wouldn't say it was the worst card I've seen on a takeover in any capacity, but it definitely exceeded what I was looking for, especially the tag team match.
I think it always does.
Yeah. What was your favorite match of the entire card?
Oh, geez. I really like the tag match.
Yeah.
Personally.
I would have to probably give the nod to the women's title match. Asuka and Ember Moon. I didn't necessarily agree with the finish of the match, even though now knowing that Asuka is going to just relinquish the title and move up to the main roster, I think it's a good move, but at the time I didn't agree with it, but, Victor, did you watch TakeOver Brooklyn?
I sure did. I enjoyed the entire show. To that effect of the women's match, I kind of saw that coming. Because really, you don't have anybody that can really carry the women's division right now.
Right.
Ember Moon's only one, and you don't really have anybody that can really compete with her, unless you want to have her and Nikki Cross battle for months and months until they decide to do whatever they're going to do with the title. I felt as though if it wasn't going to give it to Ember Moon, if it wasn't going to give it to Nikki Cross, the only choice you have would have her to go out on injury, quote unquote, and then move up to the main roster and then kind of let the women figure it out on their own at NXT.
Right, and it's there's a lot of speculation that with the Mae Young Classic wrapping her up around the beginning of September as well, middle of September, I believe it is, that might actually tie into what's going to happen with the NXT Women's title as well. Maybe having some of the, whoever's the winner end up going, towards like the NXT title or something like that.
Well, you're going to have an influx of talent. I'm sure a lot of those women that got signed are going to start showing up on NXT here.
Dakota Kai is, I believe, signed. I know Kairi Sane is signed, obviously. So those are some of the bigger names in the tournament. So,
yeah, and then it puts a lot of pressure on those ladies because they really got to step it up for this tournament and really show that they should be in contention for not only to be part of NXT but to compete for the title. So that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, no, super super good. So, yeah, the women's match was fantastic, and I think honestly, taking the belt off of Asuka and just saying like, okay, cool, she's exceeded 500 days, like time to move, like she's done everything she can down here. I think it's a good move. It keeps her looking strong, and I think the only real task for her now is just to bring back Goldberg at Survivor Series and just have the Goldberg Asuka match that everybody's wanting. So I know Corey's ready for that one.
I would pay to see Goldberg and Asuka wrestle for sure.
So let's move on a little bit to SummerSlam itself properly. SummerSlam again. I think we went into it, and I know we kind of talked about the card being fairly stacked. Like there was a lot of really good matches on paper going into it. I was thoroughly impressed by the entire show, though.
Did you like that Rusev and Randy Orton match? Was your
favorite?
That
actually, I don't. There were a couple, like it was a lot of ups and downs with SummerSlam.
I actually heard a rumor about that why it happened so quickly.
Well, they wanted the rumor was that they wanted to get Randy Orton his win back for dropping.
Well, no, Rusev actually asked just for his release, and he's going to be released here soon. So that's why that match panned out like it did.
That's not what I heard.
Yeah, no, and then he had that tweet the other day talking about the front office and stuff like that. No, you're all getting worked. Come on.
I think I heard that originally Rusev was going to win. But it was a very heel-heavy card, so they made the switch.
I heard that we're taking 2 minutes to talk about a 30-second match. So
yeah, okay, you're right. It was actually 9 seconds.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, the SummerSlam card itself properly. The second half of the card definitely delivered. Shinsuke versus Jinder Mahal, they did a lot to make that feel like a WWE World Title match, more so than I think it did going into it. The entrances were insane. Greg Hamilton pulled out his like best ring announcer performance I think I've ever seen him do, and it got me genuinely like invested in the match. And the match itself was solid from bell to bell. So definitely kind of shocked the way that they they're still rolling forward with Jinder, and I think it's going to continue on that program until probably forever. Jinder and Shinsuke fight forever.
No, just Jinder's champion forever.
No, it's eternity. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have anything.
The main
crazy.
event.
Yeah, the main event.
The
was
main
amazing.
event. Oh my god!
I was very tired by the time the main event arrived.
Yeah, these these shows like your SummerSlams and your WrestleManias, your big fours, like the fact that they're now, you know, you're talking to like a 4-hour pay-per-view in and of itself, so then you add in like a 2-hour long pre-show. Not to mention you spent 3 hours the night before watching NXT Takeover. By the time you get to about Monday morning, you are just completely drained from like a wrestling. What did we, the week of WrestleMania, we did like the math on how much wrestling we watched that week.
Jeez, I don't remember.
It was stupid.
24
I think
hours.
they did a good job of doing it all in Brooklyn because I mean that audience is on 1,000 anyway. Like they're just completely wired. So
They were even come back to like Tuesday when they had SmackDown in Brooklyn. The crowd was still absolutely just bananas.
Yeah.
How those people kept up that energy for 4 nights in a row of just nonstop.
It's Brooklyn, man. What do you mean?
Yeah. Far be it for me to say a negative thing about Brooklyn, New York. I would never in a million. So never.
Is that where you wear your Yankees?
Yeah, that's why I wore my Yankees hat today to show some love to the BK, man. So incredible weekend of wrestling. The main event of SummerSlam was absolutely incredible. It's been a long time since I've been this invested in somebody as I am with Braun Strowman. Like I am just so, and I, according to the crowd, we're not the only ones because that man is over like Rover. He is just licensed to print money for WWE right now. So, I'm not finished with you. Thank you, Joe.
Loud.
Yeah.
Thanks,
But
Joe.
yeah, so that is Sean, do you have any other thoughts about SummerSlam before we
The beginning was kind of boring, watching like the titles quickly change.
Can we talk about real quick the tag team, the Raw tag team title match being on the pre-show? Or not the Raw,
And probably
the
probably
SmackDown?
one of the best matches of all night.
Before the arena was even full of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And how about the Miz match too?
Unbelievable.
And he was pissed the next night.
But as Corey and I found out when we did our, kind of predicting SummerSlam thing, you have a hard time. Like, I hats off to WWE Creative and whoever's booking these matches. Like, it was a hard time when Corey and I were trying to draw up what we thought the SummerSlam card was going to look like and having to leave people off. Like, I think I left, like, Dean Ambrose off my card and stuff like that. Like, I can't remember, but like there were people that should not have been left off of the SummerSlam card that I left off the SummerSlam card.
Yeah, but did you really see Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins getting together and winning a tag team?
No, actually.
You know,
So.
I mean, they just threw that together in the last month for their storyline, which
Right.
it played out really well for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Made a great match.
Yeah, super good. So, all right, moving right along. So let's get to the actual
The meat and potatoes?
the meat and potatoes of why we're here today. We wanted to welcome Mr.Everything, Victor Andrews, to Audio Suplex Live. How you doing today, my man?
I'm feeling good. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, man, we're super stoked to get you on. I love these little connections that we're getting within the wrestling world because like we have somebody on, like when we had Robert Lopez on, and he like tags us in a status of Victor Andrews here, so then we can get him on, and we're starting to get this little like community of people that we're able to get onto the show. So let's start at the beginning, man. How long have you been a professional wrestler, and when did you get your start in the pro wrestling business?
Well, next month on the 29th would be 8 years for me. I started out as a amateur boxer, and I did boxing and modeling and acting up in New York. And one of the agencies that I worked for, one of the managers there, she was a professional wrestler, and she was kind of helping me, guide me with my boxing career, get me with different promoters and trainers. And so finally, she came to me and asked me if I wanted to try out to be a professional wrestler, and I just jumped on it. And haven't turned my back on it since then. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying myself.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So that kind of actually touches on one of the first questions I wanted to ask you. The moniker Mr. Everything. You had mentioned that you're in New York. You're modeling. You're acting. You're a boxer as well. You really kind of are just like a jack of all trades. You've really kind of worn a lot of different hats, so to speak. So. How do you think that plays into your career so far as a pro wrestler?
Well, it shows that I'm well-rounded. Before I started wrestling, I was Mr. Everything. That's how it kind of incorporated into wrestling. I mean, I've been in the military. I've cut hair. I've worked as a janitor. I've been working since I was 9 years old. I've worked in a cleaners. I mean, I've done just about everything you can think of. And so once I got into the wrestling business, I started out as some little corny character. You know, while everybody starts out, everybody thinks they're supposed to be this big, strong character, and it doesn't even fit you with your body type or anything like that, or your persona. And so finally somebody came to me and said that, why don't you just use the Mr. Everything moniker and just go with it. So that's how I ran with that and just kept going with that. And with that, you know, with me being trained in boxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, catch wrestling, Greco, all that good stuff, I kind of incorporated in everything that I do in wrestling, as well as promos, taking pictures, stuff like that. The modeling side comes out. And then being on TV, the action side plays in it. So, you know, I'm well-rounded.
Super awesome. Yeah, I actually watched a match that you just had not too long ago with I want to say it was Project Wrestling in Pennsylvania against Terrell Kenneth, who
works Sanctuary.
Yeah, who works here a lot at Northwest Ohio Wrestling, which is our local promotion that we have here. And in this match with Terrell Kenneth, you actually basically just like squared up in like a boxer stance and just started like, you know, throwing like, you know, hooks and jabs at him. And I was kind of like, wow, you can actually see the boxing acumen kind of come out in just the way that you were, you know, selling the punches and stuff like that. So
yeah, I mean, that's a big guy. It was no way of me trying to out wrestle him or, you know, just pull him down or just knock him down. I just had to just basically throw the punches in there and kind of knock him out.
Yeah, he's a very big dude.
Yeah.
And he tends to destroy a lot of stuff too. So
everything.
Yeah, everything.
Mr. Everything.
Yeah.
No, yeah. To that effect, he had that on his wrestling gear, so it kind of made me a little extra mad. It made me really go in there and really throw all the punches I can, because like he just basically wore that or came to that show for the sole purpose of trying to destroy me.
And he did attempt. It did not succeed though, because you are here with us today. So
yeah.
Live to tell the tale. I don't know. A lot of people could probably fight Terrell Kenneth and live to tell the tale afterwards. What a big dude. So one of the other things I wanted to kind of touch on a little bit is when kind of doing research on you a little bit. You're also, on top of being a model, an actor, a wrestler, a boxer, you're also a barber as well. And this, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, actually kind of helped get your foot in the door at ROH.
Yes, definitely. The way it all played out is Steve Carino, you know, I work for his promotion down in Huber, North Carolina, the PWF, and I'm currently the Mid-Atlantic Masters champion for him. And he came to me a couple of weeks before he had the match with BJ Whitman, the Dishonor match.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted a cool design in the side of his head, so I was like, yeah, I can cut it. I cut the design, and I told him, I said, well, I'll bring my clippers and all my equipment to the show and touch you up before you go on TV. And so I get there, and I'm cutting his hair, and like all the guys in the locker room will come up to me, and they're like, yo, are you really cutting hair right now? I'm like, yeah. And he was like, well, how much you charge? I said, for the boys, I'll just help y'all out. You know, y'all help me out, give me some good advice, give me some guidance, stuff like that. I'll help you out, touch you up, and things like that. I got the chance to cut Kevin Sullivan's hair, ACH, Kenny King, a lot of the guys. Nice. Cut Caprice Coleman, Cedric Alexander. And one of the production assistants came up to me and said, hey, man, would you mind giving me a shape-up? And I said, I wouldn't mind at all. And he said, how much are you charging? And I told him a match. And he looked at me and he said, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, I'll touch you up if you can get me a match. And it happened.
That's awesome,
dude. That's super funny. I've never heard anybody getting their onto a card by cutting somebody's hair before. So
yeah, not a bad.
It's the old saying that William Regal says is you got to have something more to offer. Even you know, with my time with Bill DeMott, going to a couple of his seminars, so you got to have something more to offer. It's millions of bodies on this planet, and so many of them want to be professional wrestlers. And WWE can create a wrestler out of nothing. So you got to have something more to offer. So I kind of just use my barbering as a technique to get my foot in the door.
Now, it's actually a really good segue. I like the fact that you brought up that WWE can create a wrestler out of nothing, because one of the things that we're going to touch on a little bit is with the Performance Center, they're really just kind of cranking out these guys and girls from different, you know, different athletic backgrounds, they've got people coming in from like, you know, football stars from like the NFL and stuff like that. And one of them, and we were obviously going to touch on this a little bit, was Lars Sullivan, who you had the opportunity to tag with, and I say that with air quotes, on an episode of NXT not too long ago. Let's talk about that a little bit, because that's absolutely insane that you got to work at NXT. So I want to kind of know, like, how did that get hooked up, and what was that like working an NXT episode like that?
Of course, Steve Quinn was my connection there. I always keep in contact with him. I send matches. Every time I update my resume or get new promo pictures, I always send them out to him. And he told me to expect an email for casting as an extra. I got the email. I drove down there to Orlando, and I went with no expectancy of doing anything. I was just there for, in whatever capacity they needed me, and I was there to do it.
Right.
And they came up to me and told me that not only would I was working a tag match with Lars Sullivan and Heavy Machinery, that I also had a promo. And first thing I thought was, is this for everybody? Is everybody going to get this? Because nobody knows me here except Steve, so right. I don't really see them just giving me anything. And I was the only guy. And to this day, I think I was the only guy since then that has gotten all of that. And which, speaks volumes for my connection with Steve or whatever they may have saw in me that day, or through anything I may have sent in. I keep up with my WWE profile, and I keep that updated. So they may have seen some other things, but it was a great experience, man. I mean, it was great. A funny part of it too was during the match, I was so excited. I was so excited to be there, first of all. And so when the match happened and Heavy Machinery hit their finisher, the compactor, and I laid out on the mat, and I'm looking up at the ceiling, and I see the NXT logo on the ceiling over my head.
Right.
And I'm not thinking about how the fans are reacting. I'm not thinking about the fact that I'm on TV. I'm thinking about, is there anybody that could run to the locker room and get my cell phone for me? Because this is awesome. Like, just laying there looking at the NXT logo as I'm laying there, body wrapped in pain, needless to say. But I'm sitting there thinking, I want to be able to get my phone and take a picture of this, because I want to remember this for a lifetime. So it was a great experience. I wouldn't change it for the world.
That's so awesome. Yeah.
Oh, that's you talked about your connection is from Ring of Honor. How long, or did you wrestle regularly in Ring of Honor? Like, what's your connection with Ring of Honor as far as that promotion's concerned?
Me and my tag partner, we would go out there to different shows, the ones that we can make the drives to, and we would help out with ring crew, set up the ring equipment, backstage and all that good stuff. And when I did the hair cutting, I got my first opportunity in the ring with the tag match with Keith Lee and Shane Taylor. And then just last year, December of last year, I went down to Lakeland, Florida, and Tampa, Florida, and did Fort Lauderdale, and did 2 dark matches. Me and Joseph Agal wrestled in a tag match against Hunter Law and Park Vineyard. And then the next fight, me, Joseph Agal, and can't remember the guy's name. And he's probably gonna beat me up this season. Josh Woods, the good Josh Woods. Me and him and Joe tagged together against 3 other guys. We tagged against Chuckles the Clown, Brandon Groom, and it was one more guy. I can't remember his name. But those were the only things I've done in ring with Ring of Honor. I've done tryouts and camps and things like that, and then I kind of decided, with talking to Bob Evans, to get my name out there more and branch out to different places and let my name kind of speak for itself before I actually try to make a run for Ring of Honor or any bigger corporation, so that way I can show that I have more to offer to them rather than trying to come to them and make a name for myself. I can bring my name to them.
Right. Well, the fact that you've been on NXT TV is huge, I'm sure. That's something you're able to show them, that you've been able to work on that level before.
Yeah, definitely. I've done that. and I've also went up to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Cleveland, Ohio, and done Raw and SmackDown this past month. We didn't really get a chance to do anything with Raw, but we actually got to do some dark matches during SmackDown in front of like the agents, all the main roster guys,
Awesome.
and got some great feedback. And by luck, I was able to get 2 matches because one of the matches was a tag match, and they were missing one guy. One guy short, so the guys that I happen to know, Heat Seekers, asked me to work a tag match with them, and we got in there, got busy, called on the fly, and got some great feedback, and got an invite back. So,
that's awesome.
For more things of that.
That's awesome. It sounds like you're just kind of continuing this momentum of using these little one-off appearances and getting your name out there. So
they obviously see something in you if they keep asking you to come back to these things.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And also plug that I also cut hair. So they were actually looking for someone at the moment to come into different areas and regions and come in and cut the guy's hair. So hopefully something pans out with that.
Dude, that's got to be such a thing to your benefit that, like, not only can I come out and work your show and put on a good match because I can box and I can do, a little bit of an everything in the ring, but also I can line people up in the back before we go live. So
yeah, definitely. And I'm in college right now, and I'm studying to get my degree in athletic training. So that is another avenue that I'm going to be using to get my foot in the door anywhere I can.
Right, absolutely.
So one of the things I always like to ask when we have a wrestling guest on the show is what you like to do in your spare time when you're not wrestling, when you're not on the road. But I'm starting to get the idea that you don't really have a lot of spare time, man. You're in college, you're out here doing SmackDown and Raw, you're out here doing NXT and ROH, like you're just like all over the place. But in the rare occasion that you actually do have a couple minutes where you're not doing something or a haircut, what do you like to do to kind of kill the time?
I mostly watch cartoons with my 2-year-old son. We're either watching Nick Jr. or we're watching wrestling or we're watching something on Netflix. A lot of my time is dedicated to him. I have 4 kids, and me and my girlfriend, we do everything we can family wise. We kind of schedule things around my busy schedule and her busy schedule. And, the kids got things going on. I got a son that plays basketball. I have a daughter that does gymnastics, and she's getting ready to play football for her school and run track. And then my 2-year-old, he's just building his personality and just learning things, and he's into wrestling. So a lot of my time is dedicated to my family. So that's basically it. I very rarely have a chance to be able to sit down and talk to myself or look in the sky or go to the beach because I'm always dedicated to something else.
That's crazy. Yeah, I was gonna say, dude, it sounds like you're splitting your time between a lot of different things going on right now. So, how do you like to kill your time on the road? I mean, obviously you're traveling a lot, man. Between going through Orlando, you said you were up in Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Do you have like a solid crew that you usually travel with, or is it usually like a solo trip? And what do you like to do to kind of kill the time on the road?
Most times me and my tag partner James Anthony. If not, then I kind of put a notice out there on Facebook, on the social media wise, to extend an open seat to guys who want to get their faces out there, get known, get better opportunities. And if it's just me by myself, I throw on Pandora and listen to music the entire time, or I kind of take that time to review my emails and kind of follow up on different things as far as work wise, school wise, wrestling wise, and then kind of go through my calendar and have the moment to actually catch up on things that I need to catch up on and prepare for the coming months and the coming years, because I like to plan years ahead instead of days at a time.
Right. So I got to ask, what does the Mr. Everything Pandora playlist look like? We're always kind of curious to see what people are listening to on the road. We had Eric Emmon on from IndyCard Mafia on a couple episodes ago, and he was telling us about his classic like '90s jams that he likes to usually crank out. Yeah.
Well, Pandora has this thing called thumbprint, in which you kind of sum up the music that you like and the songs and things like that. So my playlist is all mixed up with soundtrack from Pitch Perfect to the soundtrack from Frozen to rap to R&B to reggae and soca and Baltimore house music. I'm just all over the place. Evanescence, Linkin Park. I got it all, man.
That's
And
awesome.
met his tastes and talents. Very nice.
That's awesome. Corey would hate to travel with me, Corey, because it would literally be nothing but just like
Coheed and Cambria?
no, I'm not
No,
a big
that'd be
Coheed
me.
and Cambria guy.
Fallout Boy? That's what you listen to.
No,
You
it'd be
look
like
like Fall Out Boy.
Joey Badass 24/7.
I thought it'd be Bach.
What's it? What did you say?
Johann Sebastian Bach.
No, I'm not
Limp
a big
Bizkit.
Sebastian Bach guy.
Why is Limp Bizkit getting popular again?
Why not?
He is?
Everyone keeps talking about it. Never mind. Stupid random subject.
Why wouldn't Limp Bizkit be popular again? So I wanted to ask this question earlier when we were talking about your stint down at NXT earlier, because I feel like the big hullabaloo with that is a lot of people are probably bringing up the whole Lars Sullivan thing, and the way he's being booked is like this just big unstoppable monster who also has an unfortunate habit of killing his tag team partners. My big question with that is I'm a big fan of what they're doing with Heavy Machinery, and I really wanted to know what it was like working with Heavy Machinery during that.
Oh, it was so great. I mean, those guys are real cool, and they're willing to learn and ask questions, and it's funny because they've only been doing it for about 2 to 4 years, doing it for 8, and I tell a lot of guys now on the indies, this whole persona of a vet doesn't really apply anywhere. It isn't about how long you've been doing it in the business. It's about how long you've been doing it where you're at. Because with my 8 years of experience, of course I have experience than they did, but they have more experience with WWE than I do.
Mm-hmm.
So they know what they're looking for. They know what they need to do in the ring. They know how to gauge where the cameras are and things like that. So I was able to learn from them, and we were sitting in the locker room and we were discussing some things, and Ricky Morton walks up. And, I've known Rick for years. I've been in the ring with him. I worked him and Robbie Gibson. We worked tag matches with them. And I've been to a couple of seminars, and I know his family very well. And he comes up and he's talking to me, and he's catching up with me, and we're just shooting the breeze and laughing and joking. And then he talks to the Heavy Machinery, and he was like, is he working in the match with you guys? And they're like, yes, sir. And then he was like, I want you to beat him up real bad, okay? And so they looked at him. He was like, nah, I'm just joking. This is my buddy. I love him. You take care of him. He'll take care of you. You guys have fun. Be safe. And he said, I want to apologize for, interrupting you guys' conversation. And I'm just going to step out the way. And they were like, oh, no. It's fine. Come talk to us anytime. And they were, because Ricky Morton took the time out to talk to them. Because they've never had a one-on-one conversation with Ricky Morton. I was excited for having a conversation with them, watching them weekly on NXT and things like that. So it was kind of like a funny little situation where they were starstruck with Ricky Morton where I wasn't, but I was starstruck with them where, so it was kind of like a wild thing. But those guys, they're real cool. And even after the show aired, Dozier of Heavy Machinery went up to Steve Corino and thanked them again for inviting me down, because it really helped them out, to build up their characters and their tag team. So
Absolutely.
And it speaks a lot, speaks very heavily of, how appreciative they are and how much they're willing to, get out there and learn and grow.
Yeah, that's awesome. Dude, so they're starstruck by him, and then for you, that's just like a normal day at the office, though. So that's actually kind of cool. So
Yeah.
So you touched on a little bit about the attitude of like how the guys down in NXT kind of handle themselves in the locker room, both like on air and off air. What is like the locker room environment compared to in something like that, like at a Full Sail, like at an NXT taping, as opposed to like, your average, indie show that you're working, in your normal just kind of like travels?
Well, basically, as far as, the locker room, it was in a situation where I felt out of place, so comfortable. Everybody was very approachable. You can walk up to them. I think I'm having hold on one second. I think I'm having a situation with my Skype. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear. It's a little bit of a delay, but
Okay, yeah, so the locker room was great, man. I mean, all those guys, they're very approachable. Nobody had a big attitude. Nobody had no Hollywood attitude. Everybody from, truth be told, everyone from Triple H down to the ring crew was very approachable. And of course you didn't sit and stand in Triple H's face and talk to him the entire time, but you was able to speak to him, say hello, and introduce yourself. Everybody in the locker room was great. Even though they may have something going on, or like Bobby Roode was going over some lines and things like that, like everybody was approachable, and I really enjoyed that. Steve Corino even encouraged me, go and talk to people and let them know who you are and things like that. And it was you hear a lot about how, the bigger leagues locker rooms are, you talk to this person, don't bother anybody, but they approach you for the most part, especially if they've never seen you before. They come up and they speak to you. I've seen Roger Hunter when when he was there. He remembered me from that time, and I was able to talk to him. I was able to talk to Nigel McGuinness and kind of catch up a little bit. And it speaks a lot. Remember you, even with your small little spots that you've done or little appearances you've had, and to be excited and happy that you're actually making a transition to, so I really enjoyed that, and I was really appreciative of that.
That's really awesome. That's got to go a long way to kind of help you feel more at ease in a situation like that, where you could probably be almost, I think a lot of people, I know I would be overwhelmed in that situation where
intimidated. Yeah,
absolutely. So that's cool that it kind of helps ease you into that a little bit.
Like at Raw and SmackDown, everybody was very cool. Shamey, man, he walks up to you and he holds conversations with you. I actually had a white suit, and he was very impressed with that, and sat and conversated with me. I was able to, be in catering and having to have a chance to sit next to Shinsuke Nakamura, and while he's eating and I'm eating, we hold a conversation. Mojo Rawley, he approaches the talent and comes up and say, "Hey man, if you guys see me walking around."
Yeah, kind of lost audio there.
Oh, no.
So I'm always looking to kind of out and chit chat. So everybody realizes that, and nobody acts like they're too good to be talked to. So that was a great thing.
That's awesome, though.
Well, all right, I have a question I ask all of our guests, and that is, who is your favorite wrestler of all time? So this could be from when you're a kid and you're still a big fan, or maybe someone that you've met and you've really gained or gotten a lot of respect for that person. But who is your all-time favorite wrestler?
All-time favorite would never change. The Undertaker.
The Undertaker.
Very nice. Very nice.
That's a pretty popular. We get a lot of Undertakers. We get a lot of Shawn Michaels. I think those are probably the two most.
Kurt Angle.
No one but you says Kurt Angle.
You suck.
Yeah, Undertaker, that's a great choice. Do you, I guess you don't really look like The Undertaker as far as when you're in the ring. Who do you model or do you pull inspiration from as far as in the ring, like move-wise?
Well, when I do my dives, I emulate The Undertaker. He's always been the one who kind of captivates me with when he takes those dives. I mean, that's a very big guy.
Yeah.
The way he floats over those ropes and things like that. So when I do my dives, I kind of emulate him, but I kind of try to generate my own style. But I hear all the time,
Oh no,
You're getting a little bit of a lag here.
is taking that and just making his style my own. But those are the top two.
Excellent. Sorry, we're getting a little bit of a lag on our end here for Skype. So, we won't take up much more of your time, man. I know you're probably a very busy guy. You probably got a lot going on today, and probably the rest of the weekend. What upcoming stuff do you have coming up that you wanted to that you want to plug?
Oh no,
He has
Is he
nothing else
frozen?
to say.
Oh no,
I think so. Oh, that sucks. He was a good guest.
Oh darn.
Hope you can hear us. You were really good.
We can call back. Can we call him back? Yeah. Let's give him a call back.
That's the beautiful. It's the beauty of being a live show is that we just run into but we have to fix these things on the fly.
We were almost good all the way till the end.
We're professionals, and because of that, we are able to recover. So
yeah, things happen.
That's kind of the world we live in.
Mm-hmm. Technology.
Got a nice behind the scenes look here at Audio Suplex Live, guys. You got to see how the sausage gets made, so to speak.
I've never heard you use that analogy before.
You've heard that, but you're being facetious right now.
Making sausage?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, speaking of that, I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and it was something about movies, and you dropped the term nefarious memes.
Nice.
Yeah, and it made me think of you guys right away.
Well, that's
of
me.
course.
That's my shtick, but
you act like you invented the English language. Calm down.
I did.
Mr.
Absolutely did. Well, hopefully we're able to get Mr. Victor Andrews back in here so we can kind of wrap this up with him a little bit. If not, we'll be able to. I'll make sure we get a list of everything that we want to plug for him coming up. You guys can also check out his website, which we have linked down below in the descriptions for this video. This episode will also be on YouTube as well later on today. So if you are accustomed to watching our show on YouTube, you'll still be able to. We're going to upload it separately from what we're normally doing to. So you can watch it a little later on down the line. So.
And it'll be on Podbean and iTunes.
Yeah, Stitcher and everything like that. Joe, we kind of throwing in the towel on this one. Well, with apologies to Mr. Victor Andrews, sorry about the technical difficulties here. Fantastic guest.
Yeah. Thank you for your stories, and good luck with the rest of your career, man.
Absolutely. I'm excited that we were able to talk about NXT. Anytime we can get somebody that's been in that environment to come on the show and talk to us about it is always huge. So
we just took a bigger step in us. Or small step.
I mean, I really hope we see this guy in NXT someday on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Well, my whole mission with getting him on the show was to make a push for him to come up and work NOW.
Hashtag.
I would love to see Victor Andrews in NOW.
Heck yeah. Well, we didn't get to ask him.
No. Well, maybe we'll reschedule it sometime and try to get him back on the show at some point. Yeah. So,
absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about yesterday, Corey.
Okay.
We had a good time yesterday at the
Uprising 13.
Yeah, NOW Uprising 13 at the Rossford Community Rec Center in beautiful Rossford, Ohio.
Beautiful town, beautiful building.
Yeah, fantastic venue. I can't wait till you guys see the footage that we shot yesterday. We got 3 matches that we ended up shooting for everybody. Both members of the Natural Aces who we've had here on Audio Suplex Live, and singles matches against both members of the NOW Tag Team Champions, the
IndyCar Mafia.
The IndyCar Mafia.
We just had Eric Eminon on. So.
Yeah, so a lot of ASL crossover stuff going on here with NOW. We got Eminon was on the show. The Aces have been on the show. JJ Castillo was in the main event. He's been on our show.
We were not able to get Abyss on the show, unfortunately.
Try as we did. But yeah, yesterday was actually the NOW debut of
the Monster Abyss.
Former NWA World Champion.
Joseph Parks.
Yeah, so super cool to meet him.
Very nice guy. Yeah, very nice.
Very
guy.
Insightful. Took his time to stop and kind of talk to everybody. He definitely made himself available. Super, super, super nice dude. So I can't say enough great things about Abyss.
Very
hopefully,
glad we got to meet him.
Yeah, we'll get to see him some more in NOW in the future. Hopefully, once again at the Rossford Community Rec Center. So I can't wait to have some more NOW shows out of that building because that was actually a really good spot for them. So.
Absolutely. And we packed the house too. So.
Yeah. So so next week. Next week. Corey, do you want to tell everybody what's going on next week?
Next week, Travis is not going to be with us. Hopefully we'll make it a regular thing. But
prior engagements.
Travis will not be in the studio, but I will be hosting. I'm not sure who I'm going to have on the show yet. I have reached out to a couple potential guests. But we're going to talk about
ASL regulars, or are these like you're just going to bring some ruffians off
potentially a ASL newbie, but regulars as well. We're going to see who's available. I didn't really. For sure, Ajax will be on the show next week.
Oh, of course.
Corey's just starting to plan out the show right now.
No, the show. I was worried about what the show was going to be about because I Travis is usually the guy that you contact to be on the show as far as guests go. He's the one that does all the messaging. So if you're a guest, you're probably talking to Travis. So I don't have anybody lined up as far as a guest. But next week we're going to be talking about NXT and the good job and bad jobs they've done with call-ups. So we're going to kind of dissect the different call-ups that NXT has had over the past couple years and kind of give our thoughts on who have they done a good job with, who have they done a bad job with, and kind of
that should be an interesting topic.
There's been a couple call-ups recently. Bobby Roode has been called up. Asuka is going to be coming up here soon. So it's just a matter of how we feel they've been booked and maybe how we would have done it differently. So NXT based show next week. So hopefully you don't have to have watched NXT.
Really bummed about because I won't be on that.
Yeah, so
I'm really bummed. I have a fantasy football draft next weekend, guys. It's my my best friend's league that I've been in for 5-6 years now. So
I left that league many moons ago.
Yeah, Corey actually used to be
bailed out of my league for that league.
I'm sorry, dude. That's the one I pay money into. Like if I'm going to pay money into play fantasy,
his odds are a little bit better in that league. It's a couple guys.
Yeah,
don't know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, no, I played it with like the first year. Some of them are.
We have.
I hope you're listening.
Yeah. I'm sure his your best friend's his uncle.
Yeah. It's his Uncle Jim. So
Uncle Jim.
Louis will never listen to this, so I can.
Your best friend will never listen.
Yeah,
to
that's a point of contention between he and I. It's he's like, yeah, man, it supports you in everything you do. Yeah. When's the last time you listened to our show?
He's like, I'm going to check it out sometime.
I'll check it out eventually. He's not a big wrestling fan. He's a casual.
He used to be.
Fan. He used to be a big. We were talking last night about his affinity for the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah, he liked some.
He was big TNA and ROH
Yeah,
guy.
he liked TNA, which was weird. I thought because the only person I knew that liked TNA other than Louis was Nick Anderson.
Yeah, but his Uncle Jim is in our league, and he's what I affectionately refer to as my second bye week. So I get my regular bye week, and then whatever week you face Jim.
So your taco week.
I've lost to
my
Jim.
Taco week. Yeah, you've lost to Jim.
I've lost to Jim. He's got to get a couple wins a year.
His big thing is that
Blind Squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Jim
and
watches
it happens fantasy football too.
Jim watches nothing but college ball.
Yes.
So his draft strategy is, let me draft the biggest name coming out of college, or was a big name in college. Like he took Johnny Manziel the first round the year that he was drafted by the Browns.
I play in a college league, and we usually always end a filler. Let me get his name because I'll.
You need like a fantasy.
We already have one a Kako. We need another one in our college league.
So Joe's motioning to me. I think Victor Andrews actually sent Joe a list of things for us to plug for Victor Andrews coming up. Joe?
Yes, I did. I was talking to him on Skype, and he wanted me to shout out RWC in Lumberton, North Carolina. He's going to be there on September 15th and 16th. It's the indoor flea market on East 2nd Street. And he also wanted to shout out his website, thevictorandrews.com. And that's where fans can link up with him and
booking options and all that.
He also has a mobile app he can use.
Really?
So,
He's got a mobile app?
Yeah.
He's Mr. Everything.
He literally is Mr. Everything. Fantastic.
We need to try to get him to NOW.
Yeah, if you're listening to this still, Victor, we'd love to see you come up here and work NOW. We
know a guy.
We know the booker, so if you're trying to come up and work a show here, we'd love to see you up here. But we do have a link to Victor Andrews' website down in the description of this video below. And if you're listening to this on Podbean or iTunes or whatever, the link will be in there as well. So if you guys are in the local area to where those shows are coming up at, make sure you guys are there.
Absolutely check them out.
Yeah, absolutely check out Victor Andrews. Make sure you guys check out Corey Suplex Live next week. Maybe we'll Skype me in for a little bit. Just kind of say what's up.
I hope not.
No. I'm gonna have anxiety. I'm gonna be watching the episode while I'm doing my draft.
You're gonna be in BW3s like, hey guys.
Yeah.
Is it at B-Dubs?
No, it's at Sidelines, actually.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Even worse.
Yeah, Louis the worst commissioner.
Why do you have it at someone's house like the good old days?
I remember when I first played in that league, he tried to do the draft, remember, at the beginning of August.
Yeah, no, he did it like the first week of preseason.
Yeah,
it was so
bad. You can't do that.
He's always changing stuff in our league, too.
That's why I left.
He wanted to, last year, he wanted to turn it into like a dynasty league. And I'm like, dude, we're too far into this. Like, you can't just start switching up all this stuff now.
Yeah.
So... Yeah. A lot of cool stuff coming up from ASL. You guys will see the footage from NOW Uprising 13 coming out hopefully in the next couple of weeks or so here, next week or two. So we'll get started on editing all that down and get it out to you people as soon as humanly possible. So, yeah.
That does it.
I think that does it for this episode.
Wraps up the...
Yeah, thank you once again to Victor Andrews for coming through. Once again, sorry about the technical difficulties. We will try maybe once again at a future date to kind of get him back on. I would love to have him back on and kind of check back in with him.
He's a world champion for the WWE. He'll remember us and he'll come back on the show.
Fantastic. So without any further ado, for myself, for Corey, for Sean, and for Joe, we will see you guys next week.
Hey, this is Joe, producer of Audio Suplex Live. We'd like to give a shout out to the band Wax for intro and outro music. Make sure you check them out at the link below.
You've been listening to the Nerd Complex Podcast Network.